I just came back from Malaysia yesterday. It's my second time visiting, and one thing always sticks in my mind. Have I chosen the wrong country to live in? If you're new to the channel, I'm Marcus. I have lived in 5 different countries, 3 in Europe and 1 in Southeast Asia, and the one I'm currently in is Vietnam, and I help people, such as yourself, move abroad. But let's get back to what I was thinking. So every 3 months I have to do a visa run, and my favorite spot, as well as my girlfriend's favorite place to go to, is Malaysia. Why Malaysia, you might ask? Malaysia is the cheapest flight, by a little bit, not by too much, for me to go and do my visa run. But on top of that, Malaysia is becoming one of my favorite places in the world. Is it more expensive than Vietnam though? And I'd say it is and it isn't. One of the big misconceptions people have about Vietnam is that it is cheaper in every way, and that's just simply not the case. For example, I was looking at cheeses, imported cheeses and butter in Malaysia. They were literally 60% of the price that I would pay here. And coming from someone that likes to eat a lot of Western food, that price adds up very quick, especially when you're paying a lot of money for simple imported goods from Holland, such as mayonnaise, and from Poland, such as tomato sauce or whatever I'm getting. Because people think Vietnam's so cheap and the street food is cheap, which it is, but the food portions are rather small here. You will get a bowl of pho, which is one of the most popular things. If you haven't been to Vietnam, you've probably heard about it. It's a bowl of soup. And does it cost $2? But it's got like 2 little bits of meat and it's vegetables. And that's it. You'll get hungry in 20 minutes time. Now you can get things like com tam, which is basically like a pork chop with rice, but it's mainly rice. There's a common theme here that you'll see. It's very small portions with very little meat and lots of rice. And Malaysia, you'll spend an extra $1 or $2 maybe, but you'll get a huge portion for like 3 people, 2 to 3 people. Tons of meat, like big, huge chicken thighs and meat, and you'll get a bunch of different sides and beans, and the food is incredible. So it actually, in my opinion, it comes out cheaper to actually live in Malaysia for food, no matter if you eat local or if you get imported food. But where it does get very expensive, especially for someone that likes to drink such as myself, is alcohol is so expensive in Malaysia. It's comparable to Australia. Not quite at the level, but very similar. I was paying for like a 6-pack of beer in Malaysia from just a grocery store, like $20. That is insane. Where here in Vietnam, I get a carton of beer, 24 cans of beer, of a local beer, and it will cost me about $8 to $10. Now, in terms of apartments aren't very expensive in Malaysia. I have done my research and looking at houses, they are actually rather similar. Are they a little bit more expensive than where I live? Yes, but I don't live in a major city. If I lived in Ho Chi Minh or Saigon, then yeah, of course, they're actually very comparable. I would actually say that Malaysia is a little bit cheaper in that perspective. And when you're looking to buy things in Malaysia, everything's in English. Most things are in English, which is such a great thing, especially when it comes to reading labels, because you don't know what's on things. And just keeping on the topic of food, this is going to be a debated topic. I personally don't really like Vietnamese food.
Okay.
That's just me. You're welcome to your own opinion, but that's just my choice. But Malaysian food is just one of the most underrated foods in the world as far as I'm concerned. So this really interesting mix of like Malay and kind of like Indian. It's a bunch of different, it's even got sometimes like a Chinese influence in some perspectives. It's just really interesting and unique food with lots of spices and lots of chili, which is stuff I like. A lot of the food in Vietnam isn't very spicy. And on top of that, there's just so many options of different international foods in Malaysia. Like, every time I go to Malaysia, it's just pig out non-stop. But here, let's stop talking about food, because I can talk about food, especially in Malaysia, forever. But it's really nice in Malaysia, it's really clean, and the rules are followed in driving. I could actually drive in Malaysia. That is a very valuable thing. It's a very well-developed place. I stayed in Kota Warasan. I have been to Kuala Lumpur as well, but Kota Warasan is a place in Sangalore, I believe it is called. And it's a very local area, and I love it. It is a great place to be. And even in these small towns, they are still very well developed. I can't say quite the same about Vietnam, because a lot of places, when you kind of go off the beaten track, they're not very well developed and things are kind of falling apart a bit. Not to say that in Malaysia that there aren't similar places, because I have seen them, but in general it just is way more developed and infrastructure is there. Plus, a real big thing to me is customer service. Customer service in Vietnam can be rather good, but in general, especially at like the local places, it's just sometimes people just aren't interested in you. They just don't really want to deal with you. And in Malaysia, everyone is so friendly. Like, people will fold up menus and make little love hearts and put them into your food, and everyone's very friendly. If something is cheaper or there's a discount going on that you missed, they'll let you know ahead of time. They'll go, oh look, if we remove that, it'll be cheaper for you. I recommend you do that. It's just that customer service is so good. And I've been missing that a lot since I've moved abroad, especially in some countries I've been where it's been very difficult to get good customer service. Tbilisi, Georgia. If I moved to Malaysia, one of the big problems I'd have is I'd put on so much weight. That is something that is always in the back of my head, is I've lost 12 kilos since being here in Vietnam, and I'm very happy with it. It's very good. But if I go to Malaysia, everyone is rather big in Malaysia. From my understanding, it is the highest population in the whole of Southeast Asia in terms of obesity. And there's good reason for that. And on top of that, if you watched one of my last videos, I had a rather serious video, which is kind of an unfiltered one, which was talking about my experience with healthcare with my friends in Tbilisi, Georgia. Now, healthcare in Malaysia is some of the best in the world and some of the most affordable as well. And in Vietnam, it's very affordable, but it's not on the same level as a place like Malaysia. Am I worried if something happens to me in Vietnam? Not particularly. Probably in this city, if it's something serious, yes. But it's not extreme. But in Malaysia, I wouldn't worry at all, especially with the level of English, because English is very prevalent there. Everyone speaks English. Exaggeration. But in Vietnam, no one really speaks English. And people don't seem to be as inclined in Vietnam to learn English. Now, I'm not being one of those foreigners that's saying, oh, English has to be learned. I understand, right, that I'm in their country. But when you're dealing with tourism in a lot of touristic places, such as where I live, Nha Trang, you would expect people to kind of learn a little bit of English at least to bring in business. But that just doesn't seem to be as much as the case as you'd expect, especially in a lot of other countries where everyone does speak English that deal with tourists. And then it gets me thinking as well in terms of visa runs. So I do a visa run every 3 months. And is it a bit of a pain? Sure. Do I look forward to it if I'm going to Malaysia? 100%. That bus run video, if you're unfamiliar, I did a 23-hour bus run for my channel, which you can watch right up here. Was that a bit annoying? Of course. Going to Malaysia for a day is definitely not annoying. It is a highlight. But in Malaysia, they have different visas where you've got digital nomad visas where you can stay for a long period of time as long as you earn a certain amount of money. You've got the My Second Home program as well. And Vietnam doesn't really have any of that. Are they talking about long-term retirement visas? Yes. Is it going to be done tomorrow? Definitely not. It could be years away. And I'm not retiring here, so it doesn't really affect me. And I don't know if they'll do a digital nomad visa. I'm pretty sure they're just happy with how things are now, people just coming in and going out. So that is something that I always keep in mind, is that visa is really convenient, just to be able to stay in one place and kind of relax and not have to worry about things. In conclusion, did I make the wrong mistake coming to Vietnam and not choosing Malaysia, even though I was considering it when I moved here? The answer is no. I'm one of these people which likes to live in different countries and get different perspectives, and it helps people such as yourself, from my experiences, help make up your mind. Vietnam is an amazing place, and it offers very different things to Malaysia. It's a very raw place and it has downsides, but so does Malaysia. Will I move to Malaysia at some point? I'm almost 100% of that. When that'll be, I'm not too sure because I'm very comfortable here in Nha Trang, but I am open to going to other places in Vietnam. And what are those places that I want to move to? Well, I don't want to say too much because I'm not saying I am going to move there, but there's one in mind which is only a couple of hours away from where I'm currently living. If you have an idea of where that is, put it down in the comments. And if you want to see what life is like in Nha Trang, make sure you click on this playlist right here. Thank you for watching.